Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Learning Conversations. I'm Aurora, and today I want to talk directly to you about something that I know keeps many of you awake at night. It's the dream that almost every English learner has to speak English without thinking, without translating in your head, without pausing to remember grammar rules. You want English to flow from your mouth as naturally as your native language does. Today, I'm going to share with you the exact methods that have helped thousands of my students achieve this goal, including my own personal journey to automatic English fluency. Let me start by telling you something that might surprise you. When I was learning English as a child in Brazil, I struggled with exactly the same problem you're facing now. I would think in Portuguese, translate to English in my head, worry about grammar, and by the time I was ready to speak, the conversation had moved on. I felt frustrated and embarrassed. But I want you to know that automatic English speech is absolutely achievable, and it's not about talent or luck. It's about understanding how your brain works and using specific techniques to rewire your language processing. First, let me explain what we mean by speaking English without thinking. I'm not talking about speaking mindlessly or without purpose. What I mean is reaching the point where English flows automatically, where you don't need to consciously construct each sentence, where responses come naturally without mental translation. It's the same way you speak your native language. Thoughts become words instantly, without conscious effort. The biggest obstacle to automatic English speech is what I call the translation trap. Most English learners build their vocabulary and grammar knowledge through their native language. They learn that dog equals whatever word means dog in their language. They learn grammar by comparing it to their native language structure. This creates a mental pathway where your brain automatically goes. Think in native language, translate to English, then speak. But this process is too slow for natural conversation. The key to breaking free from the translation trap is to start thinking directly in English. I know this sounds impossible at first, but it's absolutely achievable with the right approach. The secret is to start small and build gradually. Don't try to think about complex philosophical topics in English right away. Instead, begin by describing what you see and do in simple English throughout your day. When you wake up in the morning, instead of thinking, Eu preciso escovar meus dentes in Portuguese and then translating to, I need to brush my teeth, train yourself to think directly, I need to brush my teeth. Start with simple, present moment observations like, the coffee is hot, it's raining outside, or I'm feeling tired today. These simple thoughts in English begin to create direct neural pathways between concepts and English words. Another crucial technique is what I call chunk learning instead of word by word construction. Native English speakers don't build sentences word by word. Instead, they use prefabricated chunks of language, entire phrases that come out as units. Instead of thinking I plus am plus going plus to plus they plus store, they think I'm going to the store as one complete chunk. You need to memorize and practice these common English chunks until they become automatic. Phrases like, how's it going? Thanks for asking. I'd like to. What do you think about? It depends on, and hundreds of others should roll off your tongue without conscious construction. When you have a large repertoire of automatic chunks, you can combine them naturally to express complex ideas. Let me share with you one of the most powerful techniques I've ever discovered for developing automatic speech, and this changed everything for me. It's called shadowing. Shadowing means listening to English audio and speaking along with it simultaneously, trying to match the rhythm, pronunciation, and flow exactly. You're not trying to understand every word at first. You're training your mouth muscles and your brain to produce English sounds and patterns automatically. Choose audio that's slightly below your current comprehension level: podcasts, audiobooks, or even YouTube videos with clear pronunciation. Play a segment and speak along with the speaker, matching their pace and intonation as closely as possible. Do this for 10 to 15 minutes every day. After a few weeks, you'll notice that English rhythm and flow start to feel more natural in your own speech. Your mouth will remember the patterns, and speaking will require less conscious effort. Another technique that transformed my English fluency is having conversations with yourself. I know this might sound strange, but it's incredibly effective. Every day, spend 10 to 15 minutes talking to yourself in English about whatever is on your mind. Describe your day, express your opinions about current events, explain something you're passionate about, or even argue both sides of a topic that interests you. The beauty of self-conversation is that there's no pressure. You can't embarrass yourself, you can take your time, and you can practice without worrying about other people's reactions. Start with simple topics like describing your breakfast or your plans for the weekend. Gradually work up to more complex discussions about your dreams, opinions, and experiences. When you talk to yourself, don't stop to correct mistakes or look up words. Keep the conversation flowing, even if you have to simplify your ideas or use imperfect grammar. The goal is to develop fluency and automaticity, not accuracy. Accuracy will improve naturally as your automatic speech patterns develop. I also want to share with you the power of visualization in developing automatic speech. Before important conversations, practice them in your mind. If you have a job interview tomorrow, mentally rehearse common interview questions and your responses. If you're going to a social event, imagine typical small talk scenarios and practice your automatic responses. But here's the key: don't just think about what you'll say. Actually, move your mouth silently as you practice. This engages the physical memory of speech production, making your responses more automatic when the real situation occurs. Athletes visualize their performances before competitions, and you can use the same technique for English conversations. One of the biggest breakthroughs in my English journey came when I stopped trying to be perfect and started focusing on communication. Many learners get stuck because they're afraid to speak until they can do it perfectly. But perfectionism is the enemy of automaticity. Native speakers make grammar mistakes, use wrong words, and correct themselves all the time. The goal isn't perfection, it's effective communication. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. When you're focused on communication rather than perfection, your brain relaxes and language flows more naturally. You'll find that your automatic responses improve dramatically when you're not constantly monitoring every word for grammatical correctness. I want to address something that many students ask me about: grammar rules and automatic speech. Here's the truth: conscious knowledge of grammar rules actually interferes with automatic speech. When you're consciously thinking about whether to use past simple or present perfect, you're not speaking automatically. You're constructing sentences analytically, which is slow and unnatural. This doesn't mean grammar isn't important, but grammar should be internalized through patterns and examples, not conscious rule application. Instead of memorizing that we use present perfect for actions with current relevance, learn phrases like I've been, I've never, have you ever, until they become automatic chunks. Your brain will internalize the pattern without conscious rule memorization. Let me share some specific exercises that will accelerate your progress toward automatic speech. First, choose 5 topics you could talk about comfortably in your native language. Perhaps your job, your family, your hobbies, your hometown, and your future plans. Every day, spend a few minutes speaking about one of these topics in English, adding new details and perspectives each time. Eventually, you'll develop automatic language patterns for discussing these familiar topics. Second, practice rapid-fire responses to common questions. Have someone ask you questions like, "What's your favorite movie? How was your weekend? What do you think about this weather?" And practice responding immediately without pause. If you're practicing alone, write questions on cards and practice quick responses. The goal is to eliminate the pause between question and response. Third, record yourself speaking English every day, even if it's just for 2 or 3 minutes. Listen to your recordings, not to criticize your mistakes, but to notice your progress. Over time, you'll hear your speech becoming more fluent and natural. Recording also helps you identify which areas need more work. I want to talk about the role of emotions in developing automatic speech. Language learning isn't just a cognitive process, it's also emotional. When you're relaxed and confident, language flows more easily. When you're anxious or self-conscious, you overthink and speech becomes choppy and unnatural. Find ways to create positive emotional associations with English speaking. Practice in comfortable environments where you feel safe. Celebrate small improvements rather than focusing on remaining challenges. Remember that every successful conversation, no matter how simple, is building your confidence and automaticity. Physical relaxation also helps with speech automaticity. Tension in your jaw, throat, and shoulders can interfere with natural speech flow. Before important English conversations, take a few deep breaths and consciously relax your facial muscles. This physical relaxation supports mental fluency. Let me share with you some common mistakes that actually prevent automatic speech development. The first mistake is trying to learn everything at once. Students often want to master complex grammar, advanced vocabulary, and perfect pronunciation simultaneously. This cognitive overload makes automatic speech impossible. Instead, focus on building automaticity with basic patterns first, then gradually add complexity. The second mistake is practicing only formal, textbook English. If all your practice involves carefully constructed, grammatically perfect sentences, you won't develop the relaxed, natural speech patterns that native speakers use in casual conversation. Include informal English, contractions, and casual expressions in your practice. The third mistake is avoiding speaking until you feel ready. Many students spend months or years studying grammar and vocabulary without speaking practice, thinking they'll start conversations once they've learned enough. But automaticity develops only through speaking practice. You must start speaking from day one, even with very limited vocabulary and grammar. Now, let me address the question I know you're wondering about. How long does it take to develop automatic English speech? The timeline varies greatly depending on your starting level, practice consistency, and learning methods. However, most dedicated students begin noticing some automatic responses within 4 to 6 weeks of focused practice. Significant improvement typically occurs within 3 to 6 months. The key factor isn't total study time, but consistency and quality of practice. 15 minutes of daily focused speaking practice is more effective than 3 hours of studying once a week. Your brain needs regular, repeated exposure to develop automatic patterns. I also want to prepare you for the natural ups and downs of this process. Some days your English will flow beautifully, and other days you'll feel like you've forgotten everything. This is completely normal. Your brain is reorganizing language patterns, and progress isn't always linear. Trust the process and maintain consistent practice even during frustrating periods. Let me share with you some signs that your automatic speech is developing. You'll start finishing sentences without consciously planning how to end them. You'll respond to questions immediately, without translation pauses. You'll find yourself using expressions you don't remember learning. You'll dream in English or catch yourself thinking in English throughout the day. These are all positive indicators that your brain is developing direct English processing pathways. One aspect that many students overlook is the importance of emotional vocabulary for automatic speech. It's not enough to be able to discuss facts and information automatically. You also need to express feelings, opinions, and reactions naturally. Practice expressing emotions in English. Excitement, disappointment, surprise, concern, satisfaction. Learn phrases like, I'm thrilled that, I'm worried about, I can't believe, and it's frustrating when. Emotional language is often the most automatic in native speakers because it's connected to immediate feelings rather than complex thoughts. I want to encourage you about something important. Automatic speech doesn't mean losing your personality or authentic voice. Some students worry that focusing on common patterns and chunks will make their English sound robotic or generic. This isn't true. Automatic patterns provide the foundation that allows your personality to shine through. When basic language production is automatic, you have mental energy available for creativity, humor, and personal expression. Think about your native language. You use many automatic patterns and common phrases, but your personality still comes through clearly. The same will happen with English as your automatic patterns develop. You'll find your unique voice within the English language. Let me leave you with a specific action plan that you can start implementing today. First, choose one simple topic you can discuss comfortably, perhaps your daily routine or your family. Spend 5 minutes every morning describing this topic aloud in English, adding different details each day. Second, practice shadowing with English audio for 10 minutes daily. Third, have a 2-minute conversation with yourself in English every evening about your day or your thoughts. Fourth, learn one new automatic chunk every day. Phrases like, it turns out, now that I think about it. The thing is, or what I mean is, practice using each new chunk in several different contexts until it feels natural. Finally, record yourself speaking for 2 minutes once a week to track your progress. Remember, automatic English speech isn't a mysterious talent that some people have and others don't. It's a skill that develops through specific practice techniques and consistent effort. Every native English speaker developed automaticity through massive repetition and practice during childhood. You're simply compressing that process into a shorter time frame as an adult learner. The journey to automatic English speech requires patience with yourself and trust in the process. There will be days when you feel like you're not making progress, but your brain is working behind the scenes, building neural pathways that will eventually produce the fluent, automatic speech you desire. I believe in your ability to achieve this goal. I've seen thousands of students transform from hesitant, translate in your head speakers to confident, automatic English communicators. You have everything you need to make this transformation. You just need to use the right techniques consistently. Thank you for listening to this special episode. I hope you feel inspired and equipped with practical strategies to develop automatic English speech. Remember, every moment you spend thinking and speaking in English is building the neural pathways that will eventually make English feel as natural as your native language. Until next time, this is Aurora from English Learning Conversations. Start practicing these techniques today, be patient with your progress, and trust that consistent effort will lead to the automatic English fluency you dream of achieving. Stop thinking so much and start speaking more. Goodbye, everyone.